Hello and welcome to Bonhill Geography. In today's video we're going to look at transport in the UK and how that can help to solve regional differences. You should have already watched the video on the North-South divide and the reasons for deindustrialisation. I'll pop two cards at the top of this page now. We're going to look at various different transport strategies, their advantages and disadvantages, and how each strategy can help to boost the surrounding area or regional economy. First, let's look at some road transport improvements. Previously, we would have looked at smart motorways, however lots of these are now being discontinued across the UK. So let's specifically focus on the A57 upgrade. So the A57 upgrade costs £250 million and this aims to reduce congestion and improve traffic flow between Manchester and Sheffield. Now this enhancement should facilitate smoother transportation of goods and services, making it easier for businesses to operate more efficiently. It's obviously also going to reduce the amount of traffic on the road. So the main benefits of this would include better connectivity for residents between Manchester and Sheffield, and also all the towns in between. There's going to be enhancing or boosting the local economy, enhanced access to jobs and local businesses, and reduced emissions due to less congestion taking place. It's also important to note, use our favourite word in here, this could lead to the multiplier effect, where local businesses then grow and help each other to grow. Now the disadvantages may well include potential disruptions during construction and high initial investment costs, and also potential of temporary increase in pollution during construction. That's both air and noise. But that being said, it is a long-term project. Okay, so next we're going to have rail transport improvements, focusing on the Trans-Pennine Route upgrade, or the TRU. The TRU has a £415 million investment, which is going to significantly improve travel time between Manchester and Leeds, with more frequent services and electrification to reduce carbon emissions. Now, as you can imagine, this is going to improve commuter experiences with faster and more reliable services. At the moment, if you get a train from Huddersfield towards Manchester, lots of it is still rail replacement bus. Now this is going to provide more reliable services, as we said. As a result, this is going to lead to regional economic growth by attracting businesses and investors. We also would expect to see a significant reduction in the carbon footprint of rail travel due to the increase in electrification. Now, disadvantages are pretty obvious for this one. There's going to be disruptions during upgrade works, as I just previously said. You might have to get a bus from a rail replacement bus, that is from Huddersfield to Manchester, adding significant journey time. There's going to be a high cost of electrifying the actual line itself. Remember, that's £415 million. And there's the initial environmental impact from construction-based activities. Okay, now moving on to the water. So let's look at Liverpool 1, or Liverpool Port Expansion. Now the Liverpool Port Expansion is part of a £1.7 billion investment. That's going to increase the capacity to handle freight, that's big container ships like you see here, and passenger traffic. That's going to potentially lead to boosting the local and regional economy, leading to, you guessed it, the multiplier effect. Now, as you can imagine, this means there's much better connectivity for international trade and travel, particularly in the north of the UK. That's going to strengthen the economic output potential for the north of the UK and create hundreds of jobs. We'd also expect to see more efficient operations taking place, meaning they'll be able to load and unload boats quicker and have larger vessels that they can actually manage. As a result, the larger the vessel typically would result in a reduction of the environmental impacts transporting goods would cause. However, this could lead to disruption to local communities during the port's expansion and significant investment to be required. As previously stated, this is £1.7 billion that could be spent elsewhere. There's also the potential impact on local ecosystems during construction, particularly those within the estuary itself. Lastly, let's look to the skies. We are looking at Manchester Airport and significant improvements affecting it. Now, the expansion of Manchester Airport increases capacity to handle more flights and passengers, which can support regional economic development, making it again a more attractive location for investment, or potentially leading to the, say it again, multiplier effect. As previously affirmed too, the advantages are going to include better connectivity for international travel, This is going to lead to boosting tourism and business travel rates, with modernised facilities potentially even reducing the environmental footprint of getting flights. Now, what is important to remember that is if they have a more efficient landing sequence for planes to come in, they actually have to spend less time in the air, which is why there's less carbon being released. Now, disadvantages also obviously include disruption during the construction of runway expansion, the high cost of the expansion itself, and the potential increase in pollution during construction as new materials are needed. It's also important to note that given climate change is being exacerbated so much and our actions are contributing to the warming of the planet, it can be argued that is this really necessary? Because many people are now choosing to stay home during the UK summers rather than going abroad. Here's a summary of the 4 main strategies for the UK's transport improvements. As we said, we are focusing on the north of the UK because that is where I'm from. So we have the A57 upgrade, the Trans-Pennine route upgrade, Liverpool port expansion, and Manchester airport expansion. Again, we've got the description, advantages, disadvantages, and the economic impact on these areas. Okay, so here are 2 example 9-mark questions. The second question in particular, I have tried to think about it a bit more. With the exam board going the way that they are, I've tried to throw an explain in a 9-mark question, because AQA are not sure what they are doing with their sentence structure or their question structure anymore. So explain this statement would still require 3 peel paragraphs. Please pause here and have a go. Thank you for watching Bonhill Geography. I'll catch you in the next video.